This is Booker T.
This is Du Bois.
Booker T's early life illuminates the problems that black Americans faced at this time. He was born into slavery. His mother was a slave, while his father, a white man, refused to admit that he was his father. He had worked as a salt packer, coal miner and domestic servant whilst managing to gain some schooling. Washington was able to go to Hampton, a college to teach trades and industry to free black men. Attending college, he became a teacher and was offered the post of founder and head of an institute of higher education for blacks in Tuskegee, Alabama. He taught industrial trades and practical subjects, thinking these would provide the best opportunities for blacks. He continued to help raise funds to establish and operate thousands of community schools. Alongside this, he engaged in many public speaking opportunities and was recognised as America's leading spokesman for black people. Booker T believed that advancement for blacks would only come if they were peaceful, reasonable and showed they meant no harm to whites. He wanted to improve black economic situation and accepted separate but equal. He felt a more aggressive approach would alienate the white people. He gave whites the impression that he favoured segregation while secretly financing and directing several lawsuits against it. He therefore gained support of the black community and white liberals, and through having the support of white philanthropists was able to raise funds and gain the attention of national leaders.
Now let's just take a look at Booker T. Washington's opponent, W.E. Du Bois. Unlike Booker T, Du Bois was born a free man in the north of the United States. He experienced very little racial prejudice and did not feel separate because of his skin colour when in school. Therefore, he did not understand the true extent of discrimination against black Americans in the South, unlike Booker T. Du Bois had a very academic education. He had degrees from Harvard and Berlin and was a professor of sociology at Atlanta University. Although clever, especially at classical subjects, Du Bois failed to see that not every black person wanted to undertake academic work. In addition, he was an elitist, believing in the talented tenth, or the Negro intelligentsia. So despite saying that all black people should have an equal education, he admitted his belief that only a small amount of them would succeed. He also thought that black Americans should have political and economic equality with whites, even if it meant using radical tactics. Booker T advocated a more peaceful approach, with slow integration after the hundreds of years of separation. Du Bois expected the end of inequality would come about quickly, but this would not be the case. Despite fighting for equality, Du Bois changed his mind several times. Although he formed the NAACP in the belief that all blacks should be equal to whites, he excluded Booker T from the group. Then, he later advocated voluntary segregation and said the NAACP should not focus on achieving integration. Ironically, he later became a communist in 1961, a case of all animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. As the editor of The Crisis magazine, Du Bois publicized riots and lynchings, which probably encouraged other white people to join in, as they would see there were little punishments. Then Du Bois called for a boycott of the film Birth of a Nation, about the KKK. As Booker T said, he probably just gave the movie extra publicity. Du Bois had a very unrealistic worldview. In 1936, he visited Nazi Germany, and while deploring the treatment of Jews, he did admire the Nazis' improvements of the German economy. He also admired Stalin. As for reports of Stalin's mass murders, he believed that they were American propaganda, and they certainly weren't.
Go.
In addition, Du Bois idealized the founding fathers of America, who were responsible for slavery, and he idealized Africa as a place of happy children when it was actually stricken by poverty, as it is now.
In conclusion, Booker T. Washington is a magnificent leader in the quest for equality. He created opportunities for young people, and without him, leaders like Martin Luther King and Malcolm X would never have appeared. Unlike the aggressive Du Bois, Booker T supported a slow but steady integration with white society and advocated the power of knowledge. He lifted the veil of ignorance from his people and pointed the way to progress through education and industry.